Well, good afternoon, and Friday afternoon, and we've got Friday's Heroes and Employee of the Week this week, but we also have an ESA award this week to talk about as well. So today we're going to start with our Friday's Heroes, and we're honoring the men and women who have dedicated themselves to solving the murder of 36-year-old 7-Eleven clerk Chad Mercer, who died tragically last month. This young man was a husband and a father. He had taken the job at 7-Eleven to help provide for his family. And on the fateful day of Tuesday, July 17th, UNM student Joshua Vale, 19, stopped by 7-Eleven with several friends. Joshua was first robbed at gunpoint in the parking lot and then witnessed the shooting of Chad. Joshua immediately ran inside to Chad, went to his side, and tried to revive him. His heroic effort showed his instinct to act quickly and to help save someone else's life, even at the risk of his own well-being. Joshua, you acted valiantly and showed great courage in the midst of a devastating crime. That evening, several officers hit the streets to track down the people responsible for the senseless shooting and robberies. Swift detective work gave the team of officers several leads. Surveillance video, GPS software on the phones, and several detailed eyewitness statements helped. The very next day, officers arrested all 3 suspects involved in this case. Therefore, today's heroes are Lieutenant Gary Reed, Sergeant Gary Barbo, Detective Holly Anderson, Detective David Gonzalez, Detective Russ Landavazo, Detective Darcy McDermott, Detective Kevin Morant, Detective Andrea Ortiz, and then eyewitness Joshua Vale. We have with us today Deputy Chief Steve Warfield, who's going to tell us a little bit more about this incident and about some of the heroic actions that took place. Chief?
Thank you, sir. The senseless tragedy that occurred that night is clear to everybody. What we have to take from it is what happened in the aftermath. What I think most impresses me is the compassion and civic duty of those individuals who were in the scene. The civilians who showed great mercy and compassion towards the victim. The field officers who arrived first and immediately started CPR and rescue efforts. The field officers who responded to the scene, their professionalism in securing the scene was tantamount to the success of this investigation. And lastly, this is what's really impressed me. This is not an exceptional effort. This is a normal effort by this team. Their efforts are this level every week, every day. We can call upon them, and the department and the community should have great confidence in what they do and what they do daily. And I want to commend them for their efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. You know, we live in a city where we're very fortunate to have homicide rates at a 20-year low, and that's thanks in great part to the efforts by the men and women of the Albuquerque Police Department. But this is one of those instances where bad things happened, and I think it's just a real testament to everybody working together as a community, working with the citizens, working with officers to take a very, very bad situation and do the hard work that it takes to bring it to resolution. And I know there's more work to be done, but I just want to say thank you to everybody involved. What we'll have to hand out to everybody today are our Friday's Heroes coins. We have these specifically made for these particular instances where our officers and sometimes civilians go above and beyond to keep the citizens of Albuquerque safe. So I've got a whole handful of those. I'm going to have Chief Warfield hand these out after today's event. But we want to say thank you to everybody for your efforts, and thanks for keeping us safe out there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So we'll do Charles Sierra's award next, if he's in the room. There's Dean. Hey. So today's our library crowd for Employee of the Week, and that's really great. This week's Employee of the Week is Charles Sierra, who's with us here today. Mr. Sierra is a building maintenance coordinator for our library system. Last month, the main library downtown began to flood, and the damage could have been much worse if Mr. Sierra didn't go above and beyond to help with the cleanup process. Once library staff noticed the flooding, they immediately began to try to stop the flooding, and they called Mr. Sierra to help with the cleanup efforts. Mr. Sierra rushed to the library despite the fact that he was past his normal working hours and that he had already put in a full day. Mr. Sierra coordinated the cleanup efforts and even stayed until 1 a.m., 1 o'clock in the morning, to make sure that the library would not suffer any further damage overnight. The next day, Mr. Sierra showed up right away to work, just like he does every day, to continue the cleanup efforts. So I'd like to call up Dean Smith, who's our Director of Libraries, to tell us a little bit more about this particular situation and this particular fantastic employee for the city of Albuquerque. Dean?
Well, I found a nice quote from Theodore Roosevelt that I think describes Charles perfectly. Far and away the best prize that life has to offer is the chance to work hard at work worth doing. And this describes Charles perfectly. Charles has that prize. Firstly, he works hard. He comes up with solutions and makes things happen. He's proactive, organized, a team player, and totally committed to producing a quality product. He coordinates the work of a handful of staff who somehow maintain 310,000 square feet of buildings in 17 separate locations. And those buildings get a lot of wear and tear, as every day an average of 6,000 citizens come through those doors. And, I can still, he comes in after hours, he makes things happen with contractors, he deals with emergencies like this. I still can see myself standing on a pile of cardboard boxes that I'd thrown down to try and sort of ebb the flow of water into the main library. And I have my cell phone out and I'm watching water pour 4 feet up through the transformer doors on the courtyard. And I'm saying to Charles, there's water coming in the building, and he's like, okay, I'll be there. Just a normal day for him. Secondly, he also gets this prize because he does work worth doing. He keeps those 17 libraries open so they can nurture literacy, information, and growth for all citizens, regardless of age, creed, ethnicity, or class. Charles approaches all of that work with efficiency and integrity, and somehow a sense of calm as well. It's all at a level the rest of us can only aspire to achieve, perhaps someday in the distant future. And I just couldn't be happier for Charles to receive this recognition.
Charles, thank you so much. And Dean, I'll have you come back over here. I'll get a certificate here. I think that came from a speech by Theodore Roosevelt called "The Joys of a Strenuous Life,"
Yes.
Where he talks about the joys of hard work and as you said, the work that's worth doing. And we have so many people like that in the city of Albuquerque. We have over 6,000 employees. And these folks get up every day and they go to work and they do the things that matter. And sometimes it's a matter of being a director of the libraries. Sometimes it has to do with construction activities, maintenance activities, accounting activities, as you saw from Friday's Heroes, public safety activities. And so for myself as a mayor, it just brings a lot of joy for me to have an opportunity to serve alongside with people that really care about what they're doing, people like Charles, and just get a chance to serve our community. So Charles, we have several things for you today. We have an Employee of the Week mug, so for all those late nights, keep you awake with some coffee there. And we also have a certificate for you for Employee of the Week, and then we have a letter for your personnel file. So let me just say thank you again for all that you're doing, and we appreciate you very much. And please send our best back to everybody else at the libraries. We have one of the best libraries in the country for a city our size. And it's Dean, I can tell you, is consistently, he and Betty Rivera, consistently fighting for the libraries. We're in some pretty tight fiscal times right now throughout the country, and Albuquerque's no exception. But these guys every day come in and they fight for the library system. We have great advocates in our community as well. So we'll keep plugging away on the fiscal side. And you keep the water from leaking, and you make sure there's books to check out, and we'll be in good shape. All right, guys, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Well, next I want to bring Mark Seiss up. If you got family with you, bring them up if you want. It's always fun to have family, and it looks like you got the bosses with you today. Come on, don't be shy. Come on up here with your dad. How are you, sir? What's your name?
Sean.
Sean, good to see you, ma'am. Nice to see you, ma'am. How are you? Nice to see you. How are you? Well, today, Vince Yermal is with us from our Human Resources Department, and we're honoring Mark Seiss for his efforts towards efficiency, stewardship, and accountability, which is our program that we talk about a lot, about making sure we're doing the very best we can with the taxpayer resources that come in the door at City Hall. Mr. Seiss is receiving this award because through his efforts in working with the management team in this administration, they were able to save the citizens of Albuquerque over $4 million in health insurance costs over the last several years. We have about 22,000 members covered under the health insurance program here. And the reason we have that many, you hear me talk about 6,000 employees. Well, we have 22,000 people that are on our health plan. Why is that? The reason for that is because we allow some smaller municipalities, the water authority, some other agencies to basically team with the city of Albuquerque, add their employees on with us so that we can get some economies and get some scale going to save everybody dollars. So we have over 22,000 members of our health insurance program. So entering the fiscal year budget cycle, the city was anticipating a $6.3 million or a 12% increase in the cost of health insurance. That was the data that we had, and that was what was on the table. Mr. Seiss led the negotiation team, and they received offers from 2 different health insurance providers. And remember, this goes back to several years now. One provider wanted to increase costs originally by around 22%, and the other was around $3.6 million. Mr. Seiss, Rob Perry, our CAO, myself, others within the organization, Mr. Yermel, felt like that was too much, frankly. So Mr. Seiss reduced dramatically the number on the shortfall that the city was going to have to come up with. He realized that we could go to a single carrier to actually decrease the health insurance costs by $500,000 just to start. These negotiations led to several other benefits for the city of Albuquerque employees. Mr. Seiss and his understanding of the need to reduce costs saved not only the taxpayers' money, but also saved our employees at the city of Albuquerque money, because our employees pay 20% of the cost of their premiums. So I'd like to bring up Mr. Vince Yermel, who's my Director of Human Services, to talk about some of the great work that's going on and some of the things that Mark's been able to do to save all of us money. Vince?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
As Mayor Berry mentioned, Mark is a manager of the Insurance and Benefits Department within the Human Resources Department. And as part of that job, he's got a responsibility for the procurement, implementation, and administration of the insurance programs that govern the 3,000 lives that are covered under our benefit program, as well as the participating entities. As the mayor mentioned, it was an over $4 million savings. There were other benefits that were accrued to our employees. For example, that employees were able to keep their same doctor through Albuquerque Health Partners, which is exclusive to the city, but we also were able to reduce the co-payment for children who were involved in urgent care visits. We eliminated co-payments for children's visits to their primary care physician. A number of aspects in a complex negotiation that Mark attended to. But one of the most significant things, in addition to the cost savings that came out of that negotiations, was the establishment of a mobile health clinic for city and participating entity employees. It operates on a regular schedule, and it provides service up to the urgent care level. So far, that was rolled out in February 14th of 2012, and in the time since then, it's seen over 1,000 patients, 1,000 patient visits. And one of the things with respect to cost savings, I expect that some of the benefits of the negotiations that Mark undertook will be seen even into the future, insofar as the mobile health clinic has diagnosed 20 individuals with early onset diabetes, and we've now got them in managed care programs, as well as 15 with hypertension. And our whole intent with this is to look at driving preventive medicine into the equation to help save both the taxpayers and the city of Albuquerque money into the future. I knew when this idea first came up of recognizing Mark for this award, I was going to hear 2 things from him, and I knew it, and I absolutely did. One, it was, boss, I'm just doing my job, and secondly, that it was not just me, it was my team, and there are a number of those folks here to do that. And Mark, I want to thank you for your efforts in this, and Mayor.
Thanks, Vince.
Thank you.
Well, anytime that we can have a situation where we can save millions of dollars for taxpayers, keep our employees well in the process, that's a good day. And for those of you who are familiar with our ESA program, it's a unique program that we started right at the very beginning of the administration, where we try to incentivize our city employees to go out and save money on behalf of the taxpayers. We also want to make sure that they get some of that returned back to their department. So because of the amount of the savings that Mark and his team came up with, our today's ESA award is in the maximum amount that we have, and that's for $1,000. Mark, you'll be able to take that back to your department, and you guys can use it to, you can buy equipment, you can buy a printer, you can have a Christmas party, whatever you decide you guys want to do with that. But we want to make sure that we return those dollars back to our employees or who are saving the money. So with that, I always have to sign here. Hold on to that, because they always make me sign the big check. All right. So Mark, would you do me a favor and take that back if you would to your folks? And thanks so much for all the great work that you do. You guys should be real proud of your dad. He does a wonderful job here at the city of Albuquerque. So Mark, thanks a lot.
Thank you.